Hello and welcome to Alula's Virtual Trade Show 2020 Day 1. My name is Kevin Hoffman. I'm the Content Marketing Manager for Alula, and I'm so happy to have you here for this very special Virtual Trade Show. We know it's a bummer out there. A lot of things have been getting canceled, a lot of sporting events, concerts, those kinds of things. You may find yourself with a little extra free time on your hands, so there's no time like the present to deepen your knowledge about our industry and learn what you can about security, video, and automation at our virtual trade show. So really quickly to get started, I just wanted to go over who Alula is. I'm sure by now you've heard about us. You've seen us out in the marketplace. What's different about Alula is we are the convergence of home security, home automation, and video. We do it all under one roof, and we're all in one. We're vertically integrated, so we make the sensors, we make the hub, we're able to put it out on our network, and then we have the interactive experience. That's really important, is we create the app, and it's optimized for our technology and our platform. And so that's what you're really getting when you get Alula as an all-in-one partner. And there's a lot of people who have been using us as an all-in-one partner. Here is a slide I just wanted to show you guys of some of our partners. Big shout-out to our partners out there who are joining us on this webinar. On Duty Systems, Ackerman, you see Prodigy on there, ADT, Best Buy, great call, EMC Security, Floyd Total Security. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to those guys. Alarm New England, Southeast Wiring Solutions, Cedric. Want to say hi to you. I was just down there visiting. Love talking to you guys. Look for them on the cover of an upcoming magazine with their Alula partnership. So the reason we're here today is, unfortunately, ISC West has been postponed. We'll be there in July. It's a rescheduled version. We look forward to seeing you in person. But in the meantime, we wanted to share with you what we were planning to share with you last week at the trade show. And so there's no better place to get started than our new product showcase. And for that, we have our own Dave Main. Those of you who listen to our webinar series are very familiar with Mr. Main, our VP of Product Management at Alula. He has more than 20 years of experience in wireless device networking. He worked at Digi International, GE Security Interlogics, and other great companies. He has served as the General Manager of the Interactive Services Division of GE Security. Some of you former Interlogic customers obviously know about all the big news from there last year. We had a special webinar about that. Dave's been issued a number of patents. I think it's over 3 by now. And he joined Alula in April of 2014. Dave, how you holding up, man?
I'm hanging in there, Kevin. Thanks much, and thanks to everybody for joining. I know it's troubling times out there, and it's sad we aren't in Vegas, but we just wish everybody well and hope everybody is safe and using this downtime to kind of reinvent and improve your business. And we're trying to do everything we can on our front to keep things rolling as normal as possible.
Absolutely, Dave. That's a really great message to get us started. So why don't you talk a little bit about the agenda and what you're going to educate us about here today?
Yeah, Kevin. So we've got several new products that we're going to be walking through, and we're going to be following on with deeper dives on a number of our services and ways that you can leverage being an Alula partner to build your business. Our focus is going to be just first off on the platform overview. We've got some new touchpads, some new communicators for different products, and I'll be going into that. And then we've been repackaging our Kinect Plus control panel, our security hub, kind of UL compliant security hub. So we'll be focusing on these particular items, but I want to open, Kevin, if you can go to the next slide, with kind of the underlying theme of this entire discussion. It all starts with the Alula Smart Security Platform, our interactive service offering. And those that might be new to Alula, you might not think of us as kind of the full-on interactive provider, but we have security, automation, and video integrated into a single solution. We host our own cloud platform for the interactive services, and we drive a couple of things that are unique in the industry, and it is, number one, a very simple and unified user interface. You'll find as Kyle Fosberg goes through the interactive app that we can customize and put everything onto a single screen, onto a single page to make it straightforward. We carry that user interface into a touchpad that can be put into the home, and we have a management portal for the professional dealers that allow you to minimize your truck rolls, optimize your onboarding, keep your total cost of ownership low, and do all that without having to roll a truck. So that's really our interactive platform. So as we dive into the products that we've launched and dive into the products that we were introducing at ISC and are introducing to you now, it's really enhancements to make that interactive platform sing and to allow you to have the tools to drive more recurring revenue, keep your total cost of ownership low, and ultimately improve recurring revenue for you. We deliver the interactive through 3 different ways. Connect Plus is our own panel, UL compliant panel. We'll spend some time on that. Bat Connect is a communicator, and I know Russell Vail is going to be discussing how we can use that in sunsets, but this allows our interactive to work with Honeywell, DSC, Interlogix, NAPCO, and other panel families, and then our own video platform, which can be standalone or integrated with all of these other solutions, and everything coming to the same app and same touchpad experience. That's what's really cool about what we have here.
Yeah, Dave, I agree. That's definitely what's so cool about Alula in 2020 is that now we've got a way to get customers, whether new installs, takeovers, or upgrades, we can get you that same great Alula interactive platform. And what this slide is really showing is what I was trying to convey earlier. People call it vertically integrated. People call it all-in-one. The idea is that you have all of the technology, all the pieces under one roof so that you're able to better integrate it and innovate with it as well. There's a famous saying, I'm not sure if it's going to be in this presentation, that if you're serious about software, you have to own the hardware. And so that's what we've got here at Alula is that we're able to create that unified system. Dave, this is one of the kind of differentiators we have in the market right now is I believe we're still the only ones with Cat M1 cellular technology.
Yeah, Kevin, and you see on the title, IP first. All of our products have Ethernet and Wi-Fi capabilities for IP connectivity, and then we add cellular as well, and we use the data channel of cellular. It makes our system, it's architected to be incredibly fast and responsive. You're going to find that as we go through it, a very responsive system. Category M1 is a specific cellular technology that we've built our products around, which is unique in that it operates in the current 4G LTE band today. But as the carriers move to 5G, we're facing the sunset on CDMA today. We're going to, at some point, face a sunset on other cellular technologies, 4G. But the carriers have defined Category M1 bands as a low bandwidth solution for 5G networks. It has better range than LTE because it's less bandwidth, and if you understand RF and physics, basically if you aren't sending as much data, you can reach farther away from the tower. So it has incredibly good range. It has low power consumption, so as we add communicators onto panels, you don't have to worry about adding a secondary power supply. We use far less current than most other cellular communicators. It gives us full bandwidth that we need for security and automation functions. This industry doesn't use a lot of data. There are certain markets, whether it's meter reading or security or vending machines or things along those lines, don't need data. And the carriers for the first time are saying, we recognize the value of connected devices. We want to define a segment of our spectrum that we can leave alone for those devices to operate for years and years to come. And Category M1 falls into that definition. So it works today on LTE, and it will continue to work in the 5G world. And that makes it unique and gives us many other advantages in the marketplace and in trying to solve your problems by leveraging that technology.
Yeah, Dave, you were talking about connected devices. And in order for connected devices to really work well, network matters. It matters because you're going to get that instant response. I've heard stories in the marketplace of other companies on other networks. The user presses the button and the light does not turn on, so they press the button again, and then they keep pressing the button, and before you know it, they've actually overloaded the system and created additional problems because of that lag and that delay. And so network is something that we're very proud of here at Alula. And so, Dave, why don't you talk a little bit about our network and why it is important?
Yeah, it's important to us, and it should be important to you, and I think it's becoming more important to all of our professional dealer partners. And that's because consumers are better educated now around the capabilities of connected devices and deploying more connected devices in their homes day in and day out. We built our network so we have always-on active connections, and this is true whether it's over IP or over cellular. When you press the button to initiate a command, it's sub-second response time, and that's what's expected by your customers, and that's what's meaningful in the world of automation and in the world of security. If you're carrying your groceries in, it's raining out, you want to unlock the door, you don't want to stand there for 37 seconds waiting for the door to unlock. You want it to happen right away. That's the expectation your customers have, so we built our network to be responsive for many reasons. If you're troubleshooting and somebody calls in, you can see what's happening real time on our Alula Connect portal. If you're selling services to your customers and you want them to be customers for a long time, they have to have a good experience with the interactive services. They have to see when a door opens and they want to get a notification when that door opens, that the notification shows up right away. And I tell you what, they test those features. They test it right when you install it, and once they see that performance, they're going to be satisfied and they're going to be working with you for many years to come. So speed matters. Always on also helps us build more proactive notification capabilities and allows you to deliver value to your customers for that ongoing service, because when there is an issue, you can log in and see what it is, see the status, and help correct it without having to roll a truck, without having to make your customer stay home from work. All of these things are what we try to build into our platform, make it fast, responsive, and reliable.
Thanks, David. You see there at the bottom, Khalil, an integrator out of Houston, Texas, with the quote, "Notifications are lightning fast." So Khalil was an integrator I met last year at ISC West. I hope you were well, my friend. I hope to see you again when the event gets rescheduled. But as you can see from Khalil, one of the things that impressed him, as Dave said, is that those notifications are so lightning fast, and the customers really appreciate that. Dave, another reason why network matters and owning the network matters is because security matters, and having that on lockdown and owning that architecture allows you to secure your customers' data. So tell us about how our encryption is unique.
Yeah, Kevin. Well, first off, anytime you connect devices up to the internet, up to remote access, you're basically exposing them to the world of hackers. And we've all seen the stories. We've seen the reports of various companies, large and small, being hacked. The large companies tend to get the spotlight because they're bigger names, and I'm sure we've all recognized some that have been put in the spotlight over the recent months. At Alula, we encrypt every aspect of our platform. Our wireless sensors are encrypted into our Connect Plus hub. Every path of connectivity, even the communication between our own boards is encrypted. So if somebody physically tried to hack into the boards, the messages going back and forth are fully encrypted, all coming up to our network, which goes through a variety of authentication and encryption solutions. We have our own VPN to the carriers. Our data is never out on the broad internet. It is on a secured and encrypted pipe right into Verizon or AT&T networks. We keep all of that traffic off the network, and then we're just recently launching our app with biometric and facial recognition for login in the app, again, trying to keep everything as secure and contained as possible. Privacy, encryption, performance all matter. You're going to see us continue to do things to have our own devices really behind the wall of our network, even inside the home. Our touchpad joins our own Wi-Fi network, which again is encrypted and authenticated. And even when we join the home network to get access to video and other things, we have it authenticate over that network with our hub. So we're always trying to ensure, number one, we know authentication is we know who the device is from, and encryption is we're protecting all the data. We do those on all aspects of the platform. We're continuing to invest in that. You're going to see us build more and more capabilities around all IoT connected devices, carrying that same philosophy of protecting, encrypting, and authenticating devices throughout the entire ecosystem of the connected home and connected business.
And the only reason that we can do that is because, again, we've got this kind of vertically integrated system where we actually own all the different pieces of it, and that allows us to create that added layer of security. And we can boast that we are the most secure security company that you could partner with, and that's the reason why. But let's talk about some of our products and the ways that, most importantly, that your customers are going to interact with their security system. And one thing, we're getting a ton of notice in the market. We've heard a lot of great things from our partners around the Slimline Touchpad. It is super sleek. It is, I believe, the most attractive at-home interface currently on the market. Dave, the engineers really outdid themselves with this one. So why don't you talk us through what makes this thing so special?
Yeah, this is a great product. So the Slimline Touchpad, as we go through this, keep in mind what you see here is an interface for our own Kinect Plus security system. So we use it on our panel. This would be the device that you'd hang at the wall in the bedroom where the customers access it. The brains of our system is the hub, which can be put anywhere in the home, whether it's a closet or on a desk. But this touchpad, this Slimline Touchpad, also becomes the interface to a Honeywell Vista, to a DSC Power Series, to a NAPCO, to an Interlogix, an NX panel. All of these panels, if you put our communicator on, can support this touchpad. We're driving that consistent user interface into the home. This is how you represent your company, whether it's in the app or the touchpad. Same look and feel, less service and support calls, less training calls, and as new features show up, they're reflected through the entire ecosystem. So the Slimline Touchpad is a 7-inch Android tablet, basically, very thin and sleek. It can be mounted on the wall. It can be put on a desk. Both mounts come with every one of the touchpads. It has its own power supply built in with a terminal block as well as a barrel connector power supply. If you're putting it on the desk, you plug our power adapter in, plug it into a wall, and you're up and running. If you're replacing an existing keypad or replacing a 2 gig or a Qualsys or a Honeywell Lynx panel off the wall, you can take that panel off the wall, use the wires that exist, put our transformer on the other end, and you've got a new touchpad up and running for whatever system you're taking over. So it's sleek, it's 7-inch, it's full color, touch interactive, and with a built-in power supply that recognizes how professional dealers operate. We built that power supply in so you could have long wire runs, powered in the basement, powered in the attic, in the next room, whatever you need to do to hide those wires, and then provide full interactive controls of automation, security, and video. That's the theme. All of our interactive is built around those three things coming into the same UI.
And now it actually talks. So you got this additional kind of auditory layer of communication with your security video and automation system. So this is a recently launched feature, Dave, so tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, what we're doing here, this is just a demonstration of the way we innovate. You're going to hear more about our products, and we try to make them modular, and we try to make them flexible. And since we're using an Android tablet, we can add more capabilities to that device over time. When we first launched it, it was a touch interface. It didn't have video. We added video to it. And then people said, I like the voice feedback that you might get on some of the self-contained panels. Well, we just launched voice feedback on that. And it has very flexible voice feedback that can be configured by touchpad. You can have it respond to every system event, only for chimes, only for system arming. You can have bedroom touchpads be quiet and dark at night. So each one is configurable, and this carries forward whether it's with our own panel or with any of the other supported panels for BAT Connect. So you can now take a Honeywell Vista that's been in the field for 20 years, take the old keypad off the wall, put the Slimline Touchpad in, and you can have now automation, talking, a full interactive app, and a 7-inch touchscreen on that system. And it's same user interface. It'll automatically figure out arming levels based on the panel that's connected to and show those up on, but it's basically the same user interface that you'd see if it were on an Alula panel as well.
And Dave, I've got this question from a couple people, so I might as well pose it to you. It's a text-to-speech functionality. I mean, how are we able to get this thing to read the zones out loud?
Yeah, it is. It's an Android tablet, so there's a lot of services and capabilities that are available in the Android world. We took a text-to-speech, so it's fully flexible. It's actually kind of fun to play around. Everybody tries to name their zones things to make it sound funny when it speaks back to them. So you can play games with it, or you can just name front door, back door, and Susie's bedroom if you want. But definitely very flexible text-to-speech technology there.
Cool. Well, yeah, you guys have a lot of extra time on your hands. Feel free to play those games that Dave was alluding to. But in the meantime, we're going to look at some other ways that we can extend the lives of panels. One of the exciting new products we have coming out this year, Dave, is the Kinect XT Communicator for Simon panels. So why don't you talk to us about how we figured this thing out?
Yeah, well, having most of us came from the world of Interlogix, ITI back in the day, myself included. So very familiar with the Simon panel. We have the lead firmware developer actually for this panel in our company as well. And there's millions of them out in the field. And facing the sunset, everybody's going to have to revisit those to do one of two things. You're either going to pop it off the wall and put something new up, or you're going to find a different way to have it connect to the outside world. We're delivering that different way of connecting to the outside world. Kinect XT, we have it available in both Verizon and AT&T flavors, with or without Z-Wave automation. So with the Simon panel, if you're familiar with it, you flip the cover down, there's a slot for a board and a little serial interface. Our device snaps right into there. The antenna goes right along the top. You can kind of see it in the picture on the bottom. That's the cellular antenna. And you'll have full interactive services, zone status. You can add video. You can add automation to a Simon panel and leave the system that the family is comfortable using on the wall, and then provide new interactive services, new alarm reporting capabilities with the sunset that we're facing. So you can replace the entire panel. This gives you an option to leave that in place, leave all the sensors in place, and be up and running with a new interactive platform and cellular reporting using our Kinect XT offering.
And, replacing these boards is so easy. It's like making a Pop-Tart, Dave. Would we recommend an end user be sent this thing to install? Is it a way to eliminate a truck roll?
It definitely is. That's a great point, Kevin. I mean, we try to do that across the board. You're going to see that coming in our Bat Connect offering, where we're making it easier for sunsetting, specifically some of the Honeywell radios that are out there. It's possible to do a DIY self-install with these. This in particular is with a little instruction booklet, flip the door down, snap it in, and you could do some testing and you're up and running. And as I mentioned before, you advanced to the slide, full capabilities for interactive control, as well as adding video into the mix. And so if you wanted to send out a camera as a little upgrade perk or bonus, or try to fund your upgrade by selling add-on services, whether it's Z-Wave locks or video, you definitely have the ability to do that. And I think Russell's going to talk about some of the tricks that he's familiar with and that he knows our partners are doing as it relates to trying to use upgrades to cover the cost of sunsets.
That's exactly right. Stick around for Selling the Sunset, featuring Russell Vail, and he's going to talk to you about some of those potential strategies that you can use to turn a negative into a positive and actually profit from the sunset. And this, Simon is right in there. Great way to upgrade your customers while at the same time saving yourself from having to do the next sunset. Let's also talk about some of the new improvements we have to Kinect Plus. A great platform for new installs. You can also use it in some situations for takeovers if you want to, but it's the perfect one for new installs. Dave, tell me about how we're making this even easier on our partners in terms of figuring out exactly what they need at Disty.
Well, we try to listen to all of our partners and get feedback on what's working and what's not working. If you're familiar with Kinect Plus, you already know that it is a modular platform. You only pay for the technology you're using. You can get a base panel with IP reporting and interactive controls, no automation, no cellular backup. It's very inexpensive. You can add cards to build all of that up. Well, based on feedback from our partners in early launch, we did two things. First off, we've adjusted the price. Everybody on the call is focused on how can I be competitive in today's world. There's pressure on my recurring revenue. There's pressure on credit facilities that are available to me. I don't have as many people funding my accounts. How can I keep my costs low? Well, one thing that can help is a price drop. So we've lowered the price on our hub. And we've done a number of other things. It still carries all of the modular flexibility we have, all the interactive controls we've been talking about. But we've done a couple of things based on this feedback to make it more cost effective no matter how you sell the product. And thanks for advancing the slide, Kevin. You took that read from me. We have the base hub. That's been adjusted. The part number is right underneath there. We've got a fully loaded panel. So modularity is great, but for people that are just getting started, they're like, oh, I don't know what cards to buy. I got out to the job and I didn't have the cell card I needed or whatever. So we're selling them with all the cards. In that middle product, it is a panel that has a Cat M1 cell card built into it. It has a Wi-Fi card built in and a Z-Wave card built in. The Wi-Fi is used to actually add touchpads to the device. And then we sell it in a box which includes the touchpad. So on the right, you have a full-on system with cellular backup, home automation, and a 7-inch touchscreen you can put on the wall in a box, open up the pizza box, take the two pieces out, plug the hub in, put the touchscreen either on a counter or hanging on a wall, and you have a full security system installed. So leverage the modularity, but to shorten that learning curve, let's sell it in a simple package, and as you build your business out around Alula and around Kinect Plus, you can come up with configurations that start from a base panel. Maybe you do a good, better, best, IP only without automation all the way through to a full touchscreen. Differentiate your product to keep your recurring revenue high and to address different segments of the market. So we're trying to simplify that, and actually very excited about the reception we've had on these new SKUs.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of what we got back to, that all-in-one idea. You know, it's all in one box. It's plug and play. The modularity is what allows us to have these different tiers. So you can have that good, better, best model as we all look for ways to, explore new revenue opportunities in the new economy. But yeah, it's all based on the modularity, but we've made it easy to figure out exactly, where you want to come and landed. That second one that we talked about, the upgraded Kinect Plus hub, Dave, you talked about what the different cards do, but this is really the easy button, I think, is the way we think about it.
It really is, and I wanted to show this because if you look at the picture down underneath the kind of the hub enclosure, you see where the cards go in. That highlights the modularity of this particular product. You can see at the outskirts of the circuit boards all the little drawings. Those are all the antennas. We have cellular antennas. We have Bluetooth antennas. There's a Bluetooth radio. We have a translator card that can actually be built into this. If you're building your business around doing takeovers, you can put a Kinect Plus in with a translator card, leave every sensor, every wireless sensor that exists inside that home or business, and enroll them directly into the Kinect Plus panel. So we're trying to make it easy. You can see the flexibility under the hood, and then as you build your different service offerings, you can leverage that flexibility to make sure you're only paying for the technology that you need. But this is the put it on your truck and it'll solve any problem type of panel.
And then this is really the kind of Cadillac.
Sorry. Yep.
No, that's okay, Dave.
No, I was just going to say that this is the same panel, but you see the touchscreen pictured as well. Most of our customers, it seems now, are adopting to that touchscreen technology, and not only one, but they're adding a second touchscreen. Our system, whether it's on our Communicator Bat Connect or on Kinect Plus, we're naturally built to add multiple touchscreens. You can add up to 4 of them. So put one in the bedroom, put one in the entryway, put one in the family room. They're attractive, and especially as you start to add video to it, somebody rings the doorbell, you can see right there without getting up who's at the door. So it becomes a selling feature. It becomes, this kind of a high-tech technology beyond just the life safety that we're all building our business around doing. You're bringing technology and a cool factor to your customers, and that keeps them paying every month.
Thanks, Dave. And it's really the interface where that technology and that cool factor shines. For that, we're gonna bring on Kyle onto the stage. But Dave, can you just hang out with us for a bit? We're gonna have some Q&A later. I'm sure your expertise is gonna be in much demand.
That sounds good. I'll be happy to hang around, Kevin.
Okay, thank you so much, Dave. And let's bring on Kyle. Kyle, are you with me, brother?
Kevin, I'm here.
I understand you're working under some extreme conditions today, that you have a screaming child somewhere in the house.
Yeah, I think we've hushed that down, resolved the catastrophe at bay, and the dog and the child are all calm now.
All right. Well, if we hear any of that in the background, we'll know that it's not the app. It is instead the Fosberg family. So, Kyle, thank you for being with us with your child and your dog. Kyle sits right next to me. He's the customer success manager at Alula and extremely knowledgeable. Been with the company for 5 years. Previously worked for Apple technical support, so I've certainly tapped that aspect of his resume more than once during our year-long friendship here together. He's got a total of 12 years in customer support. He's resolved so many problems for so many people. He's also got a background in audio engineering in case your band needs some help with the recording sessions in the garage during this time. Kyle is an expert on troubleshooting installations, but in this case, he's here to show us the new Alula app and the new Slimline Touchpad. We're going to go through some demos. And to do that, we're going to go to some videos, and Kyle is going to talk over it. Kyle, are you ready to narrate this and go into some undiscovered territory for us?
Yeah. Let's kick it off. Excited to do something in front of everybody here. Obviously, not being out at the Vegas trade show is a big hit for everybody. So I'll try to keep the enthusiasm and excitement that's typically around ISC going here in a slightly more contained version, though.
Great, thank you. And so first, we're going to take a look at the Alula app. Why don't you just talk us through a few of the highlights, point out a few of the things we should notice?
Yeah, so a little bit of a change to our UI. We previously had an arming screen up here, but you can see right away we kind of have that arming bar's gone away. You're only getting the icons that we see available to you and need to access. Still have that option to silently arm and get rid of entry delays that you've seen before, but here you see just having that disarm option when we are armed. We like to use that night arming if you're not familiar with that. That doesn't have the exit delay, so that's the quick response you're getting there. And you've seen that biometric pop up there then too. So biometric ability, and then of course if your phone does have that capability, we have the Face ID there as well. Here's another quick one then too, these push notifications right to your phone just from opening a door. That's a big draw to that with people not arming their systems, things like that. They just want to see that activity. Moving along here too, we're getting groups made. This favorites that people have been attracted to. You can make this as busy or condensed as you need it to. I like having the thermostat there. I like having the devices I bypass right there. My doorbell, obviously a big one then too. So just being able to customize that, throw those things into different groups, and you get more than just the favorites group then too. So we'll see that again in here that matches up with the other devices that we'll talk about. Cameras, things like that, we have a lot of control over that. You can change the sensitivity here. There's a ton of controls that we give the user if we need to reduce that. So the user that wants to collect every car that drives by, they can ramp that up and see that sensitivity get cranked. Or if I really want to dwindle it down to really activity geared towards me, I'm seeing that all here that I can customize. Handful of different features that we'll get into with the cameras. We've got more thorough walkthroughs of that kind of stuff then too, if you feel like you're missing something here yet. But we're kind of navigating down the bottom here. So we're in devices, security, camera, devices. These are going to be the Z-Wave devices. So I got my control here of my Z-Wave lock. Very fast commands. You're actually seeing acknowledgement back here in this time frame then too. So you know, the deadbolt did crank there and actually turn off here. And unlock the lock. You're seeing these commands go back and forth. I obviously encourage you to see this in real time as well then. But we do have a very, very fast interaction with our both Z-Wave and security commands. So something to certainly keep highlighted there and do your own testing with.
Kyle, I think one of the kind of themes of some of this new UX that we've got on the app is it makes it easier for the end user to configure the cameras that they need to configure the notifications that they need to configure without having to call the security professional and get them involved in, you know, I would just say smaller level troubleshooting. It gives them a little bit more of an ability to refine the system to their taste and the taste of the various family members who are going to be using it, and gives them more control of their own system that way. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, we really try to keep it intuitive that way. So those are good call-outs, Kevin. You know, in the traditional sense, you know, you'd have to go into some kind of programming field. You'd have to do your code and get into some other field to change these settings. So those settings that users do need access to, we put it pretty straightforward and make it as intuitive as possible for them to change the things that they need to.
Yeah, another way they could do that, of course, is with the touchpad, which you mentioned, can be in multiple locations in the house. And one of the big things that we talk about a little, one of the great value props that we bring, is that the touchpad interface is the same as the phone. So if you know how to use the phone, you're going to know how to use the touchpad, and vice versa. You only learn one system, and it works wherever you are. So Kyle, I'm going to go ahead and play this. You can talk us through a little bit of what it's like working with the touchpad and interfacing with it.
Yeah, the huge highlight there, and we'll really exploit that, is having this seamless user interface. So you just saw that arming commands that I was able to send. You see the silent arming, the no entry delay. These are simple taps and simple icon designs that live right in the iOS and Android apps that we're familiar with. So bringing that right into the touchscreen that's in your home is huge for everybody. And users that don't have the app, we still kind of keep this simple basis of using this. A big part of that is Panics then too, as you saw there running across the screen. Very easy stuff to use. Again, just another little call out with the Panics, obviously being different than the application. But then on the right side, you have kind of that dashboard that we saw on the main screen. So there's my favorite cameras, there's my favorite zones, there's my most commonly used Z-Wave devices. And along the bottom, we have a similar navigation to the phones as well. I can skip through security, see all my zones, bypass them as needed, skip through to my Z-Wave devices, interact with those devices as I see fit here. And then something obviously huge is having cameras right on these touchpads. And I can sport up to 4 of these touchpads on a single system, whether it's Kinect Plus or Back Kinect. So being able to put these around the home, these settings, what I see on the dashboard, the settings involved in the sounds they make, the noises they make, can be all customized per device, which allows you to have one in the bedroom that is unique to the one that's in the front entryway, that's unique to the one that's in the living room, or any other imaginable place that you need to keep this. There's a good shot of the thermostat there. That's one of my favorite designs in the devices interface then too. Very, very easy to use. So yeah, just a gambit of stuff that make this very usable and very intuitive for everybody around, and just a million different applications that we can all think of where to put these. Video obviously huge here, right? So I can I got zoom in ability. I can move this around, kind of really fill up that image. With this great shot of the doorbell, we got that 2K image showing up on the doorbell. Really looks sharp there.
And that should bring.
I think this is right at the end here.
Close.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was going to be another thing pop up on me. Sorry, Kevin. I thought that was the end, but.
No, so thank you so much, Kyle, for walking us through the app and the touchpad. We've got a lot more of those videos coming out. We'll be posting them on our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Alula, or you could find them at alula.com in our help center. But we've got a lot of those videos that we're making available to you and that you can share with your customers to help teach them how to use the system, because we all know that the best thing for customer retention is for them to be using and enjoying their system every day and seeing the value that it brings to their life and how it keeps them safer and keeps them close to their loved ones and close to their home even when they're out and about. So the last part, we're going to just talk about the sunset. So thank you there, Kyle, for all your help. You're still there, Kyle?
Pleasure to be here, Kevin. Thanks a lot.
Okay, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in the Q&A as well. But in the meantime, I want to quickly move over to Russell, our guru on the sunset. Russell, are you there with us?
Yes, I am. Pleasure to be here.
Great, Russell. Where are you holed up?
I'm here in sunny Houston, Texas right now. It's about 75 degrees.
Gosh, that sounds beautiful. So before we get started, Russell, let me just give you a quick introduction. Russell is quite a raconteur. If you have not talked to him, he's got 4 decades of experience in security. He's a serial entrepreneur who has founded 10 companies, including the first IP-based security system network, which was one of the 2 companies that came together to form Alula and give us that all-in-one vertical integration. Russell has served on several security industry association boards, and he is a leading expert on sunset, and it is an issue that he is very passionate about. So I'm so happy to have you here today, Russell. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate it. This is always fun for me. I've been in this for a while. I like to say I've been here since Jesus was an altar boy, so it's been there for a long time.
And in that time, you've probably seen your fair share of sunsets, and that's how you became an expert. So why don't you talk us through how you're going to share this information with us today?
Sure. What I'd like to talk to everyone today about is why these sunset happens, because a lot of times the dealers and your customers don't understand, well, why is this happening to me, and why is this sunset even necessary? And we're going to go through some of those details and why that's so important. And then I also like to talk to the dealers specifically about exiting this crazy loop, because every single sunset lasts about a decade. And when you're in this, security industry and you're trying to keep up with technology, you're always running into this, we've got a new technology coming out. Oh, I've got to prepare for that. Oh, another new technology coming out. I've got to prepare for that. So we're going to go a little bit about that. And then the Bat Kinect, which is one of our latest products, and it's an award-winning product, which is your Sunset Buster. And we're going to explain why this is such a unique technology, and it's different than anything else on the marketplace. And we're going to talk about the upgrade path with our particular Bat Kinect. And then we're also going to talk about how we help our dealers with the sunset and the issues that are in their forefront right now, which is this next sunset of both CDMA, 2G, and 3G.
Russell, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said a lot of dealers tell us they don't know how to talk to their customers about this sunset. How do they explain why they have to do this service? And how do they make sure that they keep that customer and keep that customer's trust? And so that's one of the things that's going to be so exciting about this next 15 to 20 minutes, give or take, is that we're actually going to help you with the language and with the information that you'll need to have that conversation We'll even be giving you some scripts and some even some packages that you can offer that will help turn this in your favor. So, Russell, why don't you start for all of us out there that may not fully understand this, and it is complicated. Why don't you explain to us why these sunsets keep happening to us?
Sure, glad to, Kevin. So the sunsets are generally, or always, I should say, caused by your cellular provider, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and others, who take their existing technology and reallocate bandwidth or frequencies and an ability to increase the speed of the network itself and bandwidth that's available. And with each one of these new technologies comes great investment. We've got faster download speeds. We've got more capacities within the network. We've got better coverage within each one of these particular sunsets. But they keep happening, and that's part of the problem. And so we look at LTE versus 5G. Of course, LTE is faster than CDMA and much faster than 2G and 3G. And LTE is now going to get surpassed at one point or another with 5G, which is even faster than LTE. And the reason why the carriers are moving more to this, because more devices can share the available spectrum on LTE and 5G versus these old CDMA and GSM networks. So the users demand more speed. The users demand that they can connect to this network and always be available 24/7. So what does this mean for the average dealer? Well, we have more sunsets on the horizon. They will continue to happen, but you can manage your exposure and your future costs by developing the right technology. I like to say, take your sunset lemons and make sunset lemonade. So we're going to go through that here in a bit.
Yeah, when you talk about making that lemonade, look, we've got a limited time to do that, and so I think that's one of the questions a lot of people have is, how much time do I have to get out there to replace all of these radios in the field that are about to become lemons and stop working? So, Russell, you actually see, I know you earlier this year you actually were in attendance in Washington where they discussed these plans. Why don't you tell us what you know?
So what I found out through Verizon and AT&T, which is probably the majority of most of the units that are deployed out in the security industry today, is that Verizon is going to shut down the CDMA network by 2022. There was an extension given for some of the security communications providers like Alula, where we were able to increase these dates from 2020 to 2022. And then we also know that AT&T is going to be shutting down their particular network by February 2022. Now, we say these dates can move, and what I'd like to explain to every dealer today is that all during this time, these carriers are optimizing their networks. And their idea of optimization may be taking some of the 2G, 3G towers or CDMA towers and grooming them and taking out some of this older technology. So they may have 5 bands of a certain frequency that would carry 3G or 3.5G or CDMA, and they're reallocating them into LTE and the 5G network. And because of that, you will have this optimization, and you could lose some of your current radios. So this is happening all the time right now. So there's more and more you will see where you'll have a certain neighborhood that might be on the fringe of these particular towers, and these optimizations will actually kill your radio or your cellular units in that particular neighborhood. So you have to be aware of that. Could happen at any time. So be ready with your service trucks to have the latest technology to replace these aging cellular networks. So this is happening now. It's not happening in the future. It's really happening now. These dates that I'm giving you today is really their latest, hey, this is kind of your drop dead date.
Yeah, it's really kind of a looming issue for our industry. It's a ton of additional work that needs to be done. One of the most surprising things for me was that this is something that we've been through before and eventually may have to go through again if we don't get out of this crazy loop. So and that's one of the things that I've heard you talk a lot about, Russell. You seem very passionate about getting this industry to move forward and out of this kind of repeating of the same mistakes. So how do we get out of this expensive, time-consuming headache?
Well, to get out of the crazy loop, we first got to use different technologies than we're using today. Each time we put in just a cellular-only radio, and we're causing ourselves a future headache. It's a guarantee. And so what we do at Alula, we're pushing a dual technology. And I've been pushing that since early 2000s of getting off of this cellular network as the only mode of transmission and really believing in this idea of IP and cellular. IP, of course, is extremely fast. It's going to be faster than your cellular carrier. Your cellular carrier must, access the network, get authentication, get in the trust network, and then be able to transmit, whereas IP is always on. So it's lightning fast. And we like to think about our architecture as being very neat. We talk about the network, we talk about the equipment, we talk about the applications, and we talk about the transport. All of that working in concert to deliver this experience to the customer. So let's get out of this crazy loop by employing this IP-first communication, where you have IP as your primary and cellular as your backup. The Internet, the good news with using that is it won't sunset as the radios would do. The other thing that we're asking our dealers to do is use the latest technology. If you know you can use a 5G ready technology like the Cat M1 cellular module, you want to use that. You want to deploy it. Even if you could deploy an LTE, you want to deploy the Cat M1 because it is in the 4G LTE spectrum, but it's also part of the 5G IoT package. So you'll be still transmitting in the cellular world over this 5G network with a Cat M1 module. So you want to use the furthest technology you can rather than setting yourself up for failure by doing a 4G LTE now and then later having to replace it when we're at 5G. You will always see that we'll be talking about a current technology. Before it was CDMA or 2G, and then we have 3G looming. You always hear about these next technologies. Well, as soon as you hear the next technology, you can pretty well rest assured there's a sunset coming with that existing older technology. So let's focus on selling upgrades instead of a fix on this uprushing of business expense that we're thinking about today. A lot of dealers today are saying, wow, I've got 10,000 radios out there, cellular units, that I've got to replace, and that's just an unbelievable task to get that done. Well, if you start looking at this particular technology that we're talking about today, this dual path technology of using IP and cellular, then you'll find yourself in a different situation than all your competitors who are just doing the primary cellular type radios.
And the product that's going to let you do all that is the new Back Kinect. Very excited about this product. It has won 5 awards for industry innovation. Pretty much every award out there it's won. Russell, why don't you talk us through a little bit about what the Back Kinect is doing to change the industry?
I will tell you that the Back Kinect is by far my favorite product that I've seen come out in a long time. And again, with our neat architecture, that network, equipment, applications, and transport, we're putting this all together. I think Dave Main talked about this a little bit earlier, that when we look at the experience for our customers, we want to make it lightning fast. We want to be able to make that a great experience for your customer. And so the good news is, with this particular unit, we have a triple path kind of connectivity. It's IP first with Ethernet and Wi-Fi and cellular as a backup. So you have this consistent lightning fast communications that is built into this particular Back Kinect. We call it the Sunset Buster, and there are several reasons, and we'll go through this as we go through the slide deck. The biggest one is this modular design, and I think Dave also hit on this. You only buy what you have to have, and so a lot of dealers today are just worrying about their sunset, so they're just dealing with this particular sunset issue, and they're not trying to upgrade to home automation or anything like that. You don't have to buy our Z-Wave card that's in that unit. It's modular, so you can always add that device later. And you can always add touchpads. You could add video with our particular network. It is a modular network. We have modular equipment. So all this works together. We even have a modular application. So all of that works together. And again, Cat M1 on board, and we were the first communicator to come out with that. And of course, this will travel all the way into the 5G as the IoT band of 5G. So it's a great sunset buster when you think about the technologies that you can deploy with this particular unit. Why buy a single path communicator when you can buy a multipath communicator and cover your customer? And the speed of this unit is great, and that's what you want to get to your customers. Your customers are demanding this great experience from your companies. This is the way to deliver it. So it's lightning fast. If you put that home automation module in and you want to turn on a light, when you hit that application, you want that light to come on. You don't want to wait 15 or 20 seconds like some of our competitors do. You want to make it just lightning fast. And when you show a customer that, it's really eye-opening.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about. It is the ultimate sunset buster. It does solve that problem better than any other product on the market, but it's more than that. It's a path to an upgrade, and so the way you want to talk to your customer about it is all the ways in which you're going to take their existing security system and modernize it and upgrade it with that new Slimline Touchpad interface by adding video and by adding automation. So, Russell, you've written columns about this for industry trade press. Talk about how sunset is a business opportunity.
So today we look at this sunset. Again, I said that earlier. You take your sunset lemons and make sunset lemonade. Here's the first way you do it. We know the sunset's coming, and we've got some time, but we know that some of these towers are getting manipulated and optimized, and we're losing parts of our network. So today, if our dealers would deploy this technology, they can actually upgrade and sell upgrades to the customer. So today we've got consumers that are looking for, hey, can I upgrade this particular system? I've had it in my home for a decade. I really don't like this old yellow keypad on the wall. Is there anything else I can do with it? Well, yes, you can modernize this particular system by putting in this Slimline Touchpad. And the Touchpad will mimic the application that you have for your phone, either being iPhone or Android. So you have this capability of unifying this experience within your customer. And that unification goes through the different control panels that we can connect up to, like GE, Honeywell, and DSC. So all of these give you that great facelift for that interface. So the old interface that you have, and to the customer, that's what they see mostly, is that touchpad on the wall or that old yellow keypad. And when you say you can upgrade that system for $299, that's like music to their ears. Because if you look at what it costs to buy an iPad or an Android device, this is a really great bargain for the consumer. So if you put this in a stuffer and send this out to your billing, or when you're talking to your customers about upgrading their call list, or however you use your call center in which to communicate to your customer base, you give this opportunity in which to say, hey, we have this opportunity to upgrade your system for a very, very low cost. So say goodbye to that clunky keypad. The Bat Kinect gives you this ability to modernize the system. This new Slimline Touchpad, you can have it on the wall. You can have it table mount. But the touchpads are not required. You can add them if you want to. We have dealers today that are out there pushing this upgrade and getting their customers to actually pay for the upgrade. And with the ability to show this full system zone status displayed through the Bat Kinect, it's not just arming or disarming, but you've got this full system view because of the integration that we have with the Bat Kinect and the alarm control panel, such as a Honeywell, GE, or a DSC. And we'll have some future units that we're going to be compatible with as well. And it is a truly universal unit. If you just had some of the oldest alarm control panels out there and you only had the telephone interface and it was using Contact ID, you could literally just connect the Contact ID up to this particular Bat Kinect and be able to transmit alarms.
You mentioned that people with these security systems are only 10 or 12 years old, but they're seeing so many new things coming to market, and they're reluctant to want to have to start over and replace it. And one of those new things that's come to market is doorbell cameras. Never seen anything like it in terms of an entirely new category that's changing the industry, and that's an upgrade that really sells. So, Russell, one of the great upgrades we can provide is adding cameras to legacy systems.
No doubt, Kevin, and I can tell you this. There's been several surveys done, and 1 in 4 households plan to add video doorbell to their home this year. So there's a big opportunity, and then, like I said, giving your customer the opportunity to buy this latest technology is great for them because it gives you this ability to come in and upgrade that old system, get a new contract with your end user, and refresh this old cellular technology. Now you've replaced it with a Bat Kinect and given this great upgrade with either a doorbell or an outdoor camera or an indoor camera. And I just did this to my own home, and I will tell you it was fantastic. I had about a 12 or 14-year-old Honeywell Vista system that I replaced the transmitter with the Bat Kinect. I got full bus capability with it, and I was able to add an outdoor camera, indoor camera, and a video doorbell, as well as home automation. And it's amazing to take that old system and take those yellow keypads off the wall and do something with a nice, sleek touchpad. And you don't even have to install it, which is really nice. You know, if you have a customer that says, well, hey, could you put one next to my nightstand? I'd love to be able to arm my system while in bed or see what kind of activity is around the home. Given that ability, or giving your consumer that ability, is amazing. Very eye-opening, and it will sell. So it's a really hot product right now.
And we talk about that it's going to sell. I mean, that's not a theoretical thing. We've actually got partners in the field who are right now, this week, using this strategy for their sunsets to reach their customers and make those accounts even greater. So I think you have an example here, Russell. Why don't we talk a little bit from your own experience about how savvy dealers are making this work?
Yeah, so we have dealers today, like you said, Kevin, that are actually out and they're stuffing their bills and they're sending little advertisements and PDFs and emailing their customer base, calling with their call center, their customer base, and saying, look, we have this special going on right now. We can upgrade your system with a new touchpad or a video doorbell for $349. And when you look at your investment in that particular customer, you have the investment of the Slimline Touch Pad and the Bat Kinect, which you can buy for approximately $200. And then you can look at your truck roll at $100. So you're talking about less than $300 for your investment into your customer. Now you can bring that up to date with this. So the customer now has either a Slimline or a video doorbell. You've sold them on the system. You've now upgraded that particular system for your customer, and you're making money on that install. Whereas the last sunset, a lot of dealers told me they went in trying to sell an upgrade, but was soon to be shot down because the customer said, look, I can go and get a free system from XYZ company. Why do I want to pay for this? But now they see value in this a little addition or this upgrade with the back Kinect by giving you the video or the touchpad or even home automation to it. There's some companies even selling the home automation angle with this. So the economics of this makes the greatest sense. Why go through and spend your money upgrading these systems when you can have your customer do it for you? And it's an amazing way to get through the sunset. But you have to do it today. You can't wait to the last day and find out you're in deep trouble. You've got to do this starting today.
Yeah, you can't go out in one day and replace 1,000 alarm systems. The math just doesn't add up. And you're absolutely right that if you can make $50 for an install, that's a heck of a lot better than losing $300. And what's even better is saving money on that next sunset and not having to pay for subsequent truck rolls. So one more time, let's just emphasize how back Kinect can be the last communicator you're ever going to need.
Yeah, this is probably one of the slickest things that Alula has done. Because you've installed a back Kinect with this multiple paths, let's just say, for example, we're now 10 years down the road or 15 years down the road, and there's a new technology. It's called 10G. And you know you're going to sunset this particular device, the radio side of it, so the Cat M1, the IoT band, might be lost, but you have other paths. Well, if you have the Ethernet connected, there's no sunsetting of that technology, and if you have the Wi-Fi connected, there's no sunsetting of that technology. But with the Wi-Fi, because you have the Wi-Fi on board with this particular device, it will communicate with the next generation of Wi-Fi to cellular technology. And so what this means to you as a customer of Alula and your end user won't have to have you roll a truck to put in the next technology. Literally, you'll have a delivery person drop off a device that would plug into the wall. And as soon as they plug this into the wall, it will be matched with your current Wi-Fi on your BAT Kinect, and it will translate from Wi-Fi to the next cellular technology. In my example, it could be the 10G, 12G, 15G, and not have a truck roll. So as long as your customer can plug in a toaster, they can upgrade their particular system. So this is an amazing value. So we already know, we've established that a truck roll is around $100. Well, when you look at the cost of your radio today, it's like getting a free unit. So the bargain is there. Even if you were to pay half price for another radio or anything else that just had a single path, you're getting cheated if you don't use this type of technology. This is the best value that's out there today. It is an amazing product that we put together along with this network and applications and transport. That neat architecture is amazing. So we're always upgrading our network. We're always upgrading our applications. So your customer is always getting the freshest, including that touchpad that you would have installed or sold to your customer. That's always getting updated. So we're closer to an IoT company than we are a traditional security company. For years and years and years, alarm dealers would look at the technology that was put out by some of the other folks out there that we all well know that just didn't change. For years you had the same control panel. I remember I could buy a Vista 20 years ago. I can still buy that same Vista today. That technology doesn't change. But with our system, it does. And we keep that fresh so your customer doesn't get hit on by your competitors and want to upgrade their system for free and get them in a new lengthy contract. So this is a way to keep and protect your investment that you've worked so hard to build. You built your value within your companies by getting the recurring revenue. This is a good way to protect that recurring revenue for sure.
And Russell, I want to make sure we don't skip over a point you made there that's really good. Is we've seen out there are some people that are practically giving away communicators, and it looks like a bargain, but you got to factor in total lifetime cost of ownership. You got to think about the future. You got to think about whether you want that next truck roll. It's your time and your attention that are really valuable, and do not shortcut or undersell yourself by going with a cheaper Band-Aid that'll fix it for today, but will sign you up for additional work next year or 2 years from now. Get it fixed once and for all. That's what Back Connect is here to do. But we know it can be tough to talk to your customers about this. It can be a little complicated, so we're also going to help you with the marketing materials. Russell, talk a little bit about how we help our partners market this service. You just gave a great example of an offer package that we were able to help facilitate.
So sure, Kevin. So we want to make sure that we can help our dealers become very successful in the marketplace. And so we help them with these best practices out in the marketplace that we're seeing. And so what we're doing is we're building some pro marketing materials through our pro portal that gives the dealers the ability to do these direct mailers or print pieces or email templates in which they can market services and help get these systems fresh and keep the systems fresh. And we're always changing and always upgrading this pro marketing materials, and it's branded in our dealer's name. Again, we are dealer centric. We'll always be dealer centric. We're not going to go around our dealers and go retail or do anything direct. It's always going to be through our pro channel. So to help our pro channel become very successful, which makes us very successful as well, we're going to assist with these marketing materials. And the marketing materials are beautiful. They're really first class, and they're ready to go. You can literally go in and put your logo on a template on this pro portal, get it sent to you, and you can print them out, send them to your printer, buy them. It's an amazing way to help our dealers become more successful than anybody else using someone else's portals.
Yeah, Russell, if people are interested, you and the audience are interested in seeing more, please come back for day 2. We will be doing a deep dive on these pro marketing materials. My colleague, Thomas Pedro, will be giving a live demo of exactly what Russell was just talking about, how you can upload your logo, put in your phone number and your address, and you will have professional-grade marketing materials that you can instantly print out and send to your customers, whether it's a door hanger or a postcard or an email if you want to reach them digitally. We've got a lot of ways in which you can really upgrade those marketing materials and give your business the pro look that it deserves. And in addition, we've also got a rebate program to help our pros out. So, Russell, this is your brainchild. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would like to thank you for it. But why don't you tell anybody who hasn't heard about it how they're able to save some money?
Yeah, so Kevin, on this one, it's the Connect Up program. So we've started a program months ago that allows our dealers who are upgrading older technologies, CDMA, 3G, 4G radios, or 3.5Gs that are claimed to be 4G radios that are sunsetting. We're giving our dealers up to $50 in a rebate, so we would actually write you guys a check for however many units you've upgraded, depending on what technology you installed. So it's easy to enroll. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, enroll, purchase, activate, and complete. And then once this form has been completed, we send you a check. So you can't get any easier than that for a Connect Up program. So when you go down to the distributor and you buy a unit for around $100, this Back Connect, and we can give you up to $50 back for that, depending on what you're installing at this particular residence or that particular upgrade. Now, we've been talking about this Alula Sunset and Connect Up program, but our unit, the Back Connect, should be used from new installs, because if you look at the value that we produce between getting a Back Connect and a touchpad together for around $200. That's less. That combination is less than most of the touch screens that you could add from any of the other manufacturers that are out there. And again, we're the manufacturer and the platform, so we're able to add a lot more value into our mix by having that end-to-end solution. Because we have that neat architecture of that network, the application, the equipment, the transport, we have all of that together working in concert so we can offer that value to our dealers. So on a new install, this is a beautiful way to do it. On an upgrade, we certainly are promoting that. This is a great opportunity in which to refresh your agreements with your end users. And then also the sunset. So this was mainly focused on the sunset, but realize that there's two other opportunities in which to use this particular product to increase your revenue. You can add services that you could not add before. The way this modularity is in our platform, you literally can just add cameras. No alarm system, no panel upgrades, just add a camera. You can do that with our particular system. So think about how many times you've gone and talked to your end users and they say, look, I just want a doorbell camera. I don't care about the security system. You have that opportunity not to walk away from that because you can add just that particular device, the camera, and be able to get recurring revenue from that. It's an amazing opportunity for the dealers today.
Oh, absolutely. There's a ton of opportunity out there, and Alula is all about helping our partners to reach that opportunity. Russell, thank you so much for talking about the sunset. It's been very educational.
Thanks, Kevin.
And we're going to stick around here with our audience. We've got a lot of questions coming in, and we want to make sure that we take this time at this virtual trade show to answer all of those. So stick with us, and we'll begin the Q&A. Thank you so much. Thank you all for sticking with us. I know we had a few technical hiccups there in the beginning. I'm sure you're all quite familiar with the challenges of working remotely, working from off-site. That's something that we're all kind of learning about in this new world. And speaking of that, I didn't want to ignore the elephant in the room. We're all dealing with the effects of coronavirus and COVID-19. And I wanted to bring on our CEO, Brian McLaughlin. He'll be here for the second day of the event on Thursday, but I wanted to bring him on early at this time to talk a little bit about what we're doing with our partners to help them during this challenging time. Brian, are you there?
Yeah, Kevin, I am here. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just great, Brian. Thanks.
Good. Well, thanks, Kevin. Great job to you and the presenters today. And as you mentioned, there's lots going on in the world, and we certainly don't want to ignore that. We at Alula here view ourselves as being an essential part of the supply chain to help with the safety of the U.S. and Canada. Just like you guys, so many of our partners out there, dealers and distributors, we are open for business, and we're also very much balancing that with making sure that we have the safety of our teammates here at Alula. All of our folks are off-site except for manufacturing and a few key members of our call center. Those jobs obviously can't be done from remote locations, but those that are on site at the office, we very much appreciate them doing what they're doing, and we're doing our best to keep things sanitized and separated and in a very safe work environment. So we are running the factory, and we are receiving product, and we are shipping product. We have inventory on most mainline items, and that's because of the fact that our manufacturing is done in St. Paul and most of it now in Juarez. But we do get some parts and pieces from Asia, and as we are currently and actively restocking as Asia comes back online. Some will be tougher than others, but the reality is we have inventory. We plan on having inventory for the foreseeable future, long into the future. And if we do run into challenges, we'll make sure that those are communicated to you, our great partners, because we know that it's important for us to get those to you and to our distributors out there in the field. Probably most importantly is we want to help you guys get through this as our partners. and we're open to your suggestions and ideas. These are all unprecedented times for us. We are really doubling down on our self-install options. And we encourage you, if you don't offer a self-install option, I'm going to refrain from calling it a full DIY because it's tough to tool up a full DIY offering or business. But offer a self-install option that the Alula system can be done that, so you don't have to worry about sending the installer into the home if somebody's a little bit concerned about that at this point in time. We're also ramping up our training during this downtime, and we're continuing to offer special pricing and programs to help out on the financial side for our partners. We're not pulling back. Again, we're doubling down to make sure that we can support you guys any way that you need us to here going forward, whether it's sunset programs like Russell talked about, Interlogix programs, back Kinect programs. We aim to be very cost effective and full functionality, but also to make sure that we allow you to try to hit the points of growth even in these very difficult times. So as always, we welcome your ideas, suggestions, comments. We'd love to hear from you if there are things we should be doing during these difficult times that we're not, because our success is really tied into your success, and we want to make sure that it happens effectively here going forward. But thanks, Kevin, for letting me join for a few minutes today, and look forward to joining the team on Thursday as well.
Thank you, Brian. And to your point, we have a lot of material that we are creating as we speak about how you guys can sell during this difficult time, the kind of dealer DIY, as some people call it, where you're mailing it out for a self-install after pre-provisioning the equipment, different ways you may be able to market your services. I think this is a time where everyone is thinking about their safety and security and their families. So there is some opportunity even amidst these very difficult times. But on a lighter note, before we move into your questions, I want to announce the winner of our Alula Pro prize pack for the day. It is a $500 suggested distributor price. It's a complete whole home system that starts with our brand new loaded Kinect Plus hub with Z-Wave automation card, Wi-Fi device link card, and the 4G, 5G M1 cellular card. Included, you'll get the Slimline Touchpad, the video doorbell, 3 Nano Max door window sensors, and a Pet Immune indoor motion sensor. So the winner of the whole home prize package for today, Tuesday, is, drum roll, Mark Pippin. Mark Pippin of American Integrations Contractors. Mark, you win, buddy. We'll be in touch with you. Make sure that you get your prize back. And for those of you who did not win today, please come back on Thursday. You'll have another chance. We're going to give this all away again. All you got to do is hang with us for the virtual trade show. And during the Q&A, just like today, we'll be picking the winner. All right. Congratulations, Mark. Let's get to your questions and answers. Starting out with David. He says, thanks, Alula. Working from home today. Thank you for the webinar. I would like to know how you recommend pushing 4G upgrades, especially when the date keeps getting pushed further out. So this is an ideal question for our sunset guru, Russell Vail. Russell, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for joining us, Russell, under these challenging circumstances. To David's question, what do you recommend in terms of how to communicate with customers about upgrading systems to 4G or beyond?
So, great question there from our dealer partners. The best way to do it is early and often. You want to communicate with your customers that you do have some of these upgrade paths available at all times, because you don't want to wait to the end of the sunset, because then it becomes way too late. Then you have an issue of being able to schedule it because everybody else is in the sunset rush. You want to be able to do it now. So we suggest early and often. So this would be in the form of emails to your client base. You could use our professional portal to pull down brochures to be able to do it yourself. Put your logo on this professionally made brochures, get them out to your customer base, and offer these type of upgrades consistently. And as they come in, what you'll find is that a lot of your sunset devices will get upgraded automatically. So this is a great way to do it. And my suggestion is early and often. I'd also pack your technicians with brochures to be able to talk about upgrading a system. Maybe they can do it while they're there, take that old yellow keypad off the wall, upgrade that old keypad with a brand new Slimline Touch Pad, and take care of the sunset all at the same exact time. It's a great way to, take care of the sunset without having to give away the farm like we've had to do in the last few sunsets.
Thank you, Russell, and you put it very clearly as only you can. Don't give away the farm. Next up, we've got Jay. Jay's asking, can we get a copy of this whole webinar to view at another time? Yes. If you attended the webinar, we will be making this recording available to you. It'll be on alula.com/YouTube tomorrow, as well as at alula.com/webinars. But you should also be getting it in your email box. Thank you for asking, Jay. Question, Dave, I think this one's for you. You with me?
I'm here.
Okay, you can help me with this question from Sunil. Sunil asks, any updates to allow for on-vis camera support for our customers with existing IP CCTV installed?
Yeah, great question. I see a number of questions coming up related to video. We currently have the 4 cameras that were highlighted during the webinar available. We're continuing to expand that offering. We've been working with our camera supplier to optimize the firmware and make sure the video is delivered efficiently and quickly. And as a result, we have to get that capability built into other cameras. We're also looking at partners which will be integrating into our video services that are more focused on commercial installs. So at the moment, no on-VIF support, but look for on-site recording equipment and support for on-VIF coming here as we go through 2020, and also look for additional partnerships in the video space. We're specifically, I don't know, in the commercial world, we've already partnered with Brevo on the access control side. You're going to be hearing more about that on Thursday. And Brevo has a sister company, Eagle Eye, so we're in discussions with them as well as some other video recording options. So stay tuned, and we will keep you posted as that becomes available.
Excellent. I'm going to keep you on the line here for this next question. It comes to us from Neil. Did you say that you could communicate with DSC, Interlogix, and Honeywell wireless sensors and devices?
Yeah, great question from Neil, and I'm going to answer it in twofold. I think this came in during the BAT Connect discussions, and it's important to note BAT Connect hooks up to the key bus of any of those different systems. So a DSC Power Series, NX, Honeywell Vista, soon you're going to have the NAPCO line and Concord, and any sensor that is enrolled in those panels now become part of the ecosystem, and you see them in the interactive as well as in the alarm reporting. So that's in the BAT Connect world. We also, Alula is the maker of of translators, which are both hardwire and wireless. And on those products, we take sensors from any of those different manufacturers and then can convert them into a different RF format. So in the BAT Connect world, if it's enrolled in the panel, it's available. Nothing enrolls directly into the BAT Connect. It goes into the panel we're connected to. But if you're dealing with other takeover solutions, look to Alula to help you on that front with both hardwire and wireless translator offerings.
Okay, Dave, and one last quick one from Alton asking, will there be a NVR, DVR for local storage? Is there any new cameras coming out? I think you kind of touched on this in the previous question, but just to be sure.
Yeah, that's great. And I wanted to highlight, we do have local storage on our video services offering. We do have SD cards in every one of our cameras. So if there's a loss of network connectivity, we can recover the images off the SD card, but we don't have an NVR at the moment. But again, stay tuned and we'll get that addressed.
Excellent. So we've still got BMAC Brian McLaughlin on the line. So Brian, if you got a second, I got a question here from Brad. He's asking, will ADI ever carry the full product line or other cameras compatible with your video platform?
It's a good question, Kevin. Our answer is hopefully yes. That's our objective in working with ADI. ADI has been a great partner of ours for years. As you know, they have partial line support today. we'd very much like to get our full line in there. That really depends upon the demand in each region. I do know this: if you're a partner of ADI's and you're a partner of ours, if you talk to ADI, they have agreed to bring us into the locations that you need product in, or work with you to get that, so that we can service your needs. And we've done that for a number of our key partners that are out there. So today we've got partial line. We're expanding that. I'd say each and every quarter we're working closely with them to expand that. And I would say in the not too distant future we'll be there. But we've got a little bit of work to do to get all the way there.
And on a similar line of questions about the purchase experience at Disty, David is asking, hi, are there any bundles instead of a la carte? So perhaps you could talk to us a little bit about our new Kinect Plus bundles.
Yeah, and actually, Dave, here on, I think those are Dave is the inventor and of the bundles, and has been a passionate proponent of that for some time now. So, Dave, you want to take that one?
Sure, I can address that. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, as you saw in the presentation, we have created bundles, and really this is all part of simplification. You're going to see us simplify the user interface. That's based on feedback from our partners, and these bundles are to simplify the way that the Kinect Plus is purchased and used by our partners, especially when you're coming on board. It makes sure that you have all the right parts there when you're doing an installation. And then what we find is once people get familiar with the product, they will start to buy a la carte and start to create bundles so that you can deliver a good, better, best offering to your customers, both on the product and the service front. So look for those to show up. We simplified the part numbering as well, and Brian McLaughlin was one of the key drivers there. We've had our historic part numbers, which didn't really, you needed a decoder ring to figure them out. We're going to simplified part numbers. It starts with a C+. It shows what the carrier is, what color touchpad, all in relatively straightforward numeric or alpha symbols. So look for simplification across the board from Alula in 2020.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. Let me just spin right back here to Russell, because we've got a question about Sunset. Steven's asking, will the Cat M1 card continue to work past 5G to 6G, 7G, and even 8G?
A good question. Well, like with all sunsets, there's always another sunset coming. And right now, we really can't answer if the IoT band, which is what the Cat M1 is, will extend to 6G and 7G. We don't know how far that will carry. At this time, we know the M1 is the IoT band of 5G. We don't know if it will be carried as the IoT band into the 6 or 7G or whatever future technology. We could always hope, but you can never be guaranteed that. And of course, we're looking way down the road for that particular answer. I mean, right now, people should be buying the latest they can. And right now, the latest you can buy is the M1.
And Russell, if I could just add to that, and this is your own vision, but one thing that people talk about quite often, whether it's 5G or future cellular technologies, is how wireless will become the broadband access point into homes and businesses. So rather than pulling a cable down from the curb into the home, it's going to be a wireless network. They're adding bandwidth to that. That's one of the biggest benefits of adopting Alula and the BAT Kinect as your communicator, or Kinect Plus as your panel, that we have broadband access, we have Wi-Fi access. We would join that hub. So to the extent that you have a 6G, 7G, or whatever G technology as the broadband access point, we connect up to that, and now we have a wireless path all the way out, right through our Ethernet connection. That's one of the key points of adopting dual path technology today, is that carries you into the future. And Russell, sorry for interjecting your own vision into the question. I just wanted to make that point to the listeners.
Hey, great point, Dave. I couldn't agree more that the next device literally will be something that your customer will plug into the wall, as long as you have this multi-path solution. If you're still going with the single path, you're still going to be involved in the sunset. If you adopt the new technologies like Alula has, then you're going to be safe as we go into the next sunset. Good point, Dave.
Great. Let's take it over to Kyle. We've got a few questions that fall into your wheelhouse. Kyle, are you there?
Can you hear me, Kevin?
I can hear you, Kyle. How is the child and the dog today?
Yeah, we're all doing great over here still.
Good. Well, they can feel free to join the webinar if they feel like it. But let me ask you a quick question from David. You point out in the video the thermostat, which is one of your favorite interfaces on the Alula app. He says that sometimes he experiences a little bit of a lag there. Do you have any reason why he might be experiencing that?
Is this from the app or the touchpad? This is the one problem with not being in the booth is I don't get my rebuttal questions and really drill into this here. I guess I would offer my email and phone number. We would want to figure that piece out together. You know, tech support's available, of course, then too. But yeah, we should not see those things. So yeah, I'd really want to drill into that and kind of figure that out specifically. I don't have a reason for that off the top of my head.
No worries, Dave. I think he's talking about the app. But David, please send me an email. I'll make sure to get you connected with Kyle. My email address is KEVIN.HOFFMAN@alula.net. All right, moving on. Kyle, Foti has a question. Where do I find a list of what other vendor products work with Alula?
Gosh, such another big question. I mean, that's kind of been our bread and butter for a long time, is being compatible with a bunch of stuff. So whether it's sensors, whether it's the translator, whether it's the back Kinect, those should all get addressed within the individual manuals of those devices. There's tons of information on our website. Again, without a specific product, I don't want to gear you too many directions, but another thing that I'd like to follow up and make sure I'm answering the specific need there. But Alula.com should definitely be able to get you in the right direction. If not, definitely reach out to us directly. We will find you the very specific answer that you're looking for there.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Alula.com is a great first start. See if you can find the information there. I know we've got a PDF file of all the Z-Wave compatible devices that we work with. I know there's also another document there that shows how Back Kinect works with various panels in market. So if you're not able to find the answer there, just reach out to us, 1-888-88-ALULA. We'll make sure to get what you need. Foti. All righty.
Yeah, Z-Wave's another good call out there, Kevin. So I didn't even think of Z-Wave. Z-Wave Alliance does a really good job at vetting that these days then too. So Z-Wave-wise, if it's got the Z-Wave sticker on it, that should be compatible and operational with our both Back Kinect and Kinect Plus systems too.
Yep. Question comes to us from Lonnie. Very timely question, Kyle. I know you do these kind of demos all the time, so I'll ask you for best practices. Lonnie's asking, since we were trying to practice social distancing, how about some user-level manuals and videos instead of us having to share a phone or hover over a customer on the computer? How are we addressing that, Kyle?
Yeah, so we have various documents available to you guys today. If there's some branding and things like that, we have a marketing portal that we could slap some labels on. If there's something specific you're not finding there, we're open to creating that type of documentation too. But yeah, we have some original content for each device itself. Obviously, big ones would be like the Touchpad, getting some walkthroughs of that. There are some videos online with the app and Touchpad Interface as well. Kevin and I are actually working to expand that at this time of quarantine as well. So really open to suggestions on what you guys need and what the focus should be. But I think we are hitting the highlights with that then too. Certainly would gear you towards our marketing portal if you're not familiar with that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very timely question. Thanks for bringing it up. It's something that we've been in process of working on already and have already done some of, but we certainly understand that the need is all the greater in these times where we aren't necessarily able to visit people in person. So we've definitely moved that to the top of the list. Kyle, look forward to working with you on that project. Let's go over to Dave. Dave, this comes from Patrick, is the home automation program stored in the cloud or locally on the alarm panel? If all the internet is down, will my scheduled lights still turn on and off?
That's a great question. And I know we have one of our home automation expert partners that were attending the webinar. I was chatting with him, who uses the Z-Wave extensively. It is stored locally. It will work whether the network's down or not. And that's true for all the Z-Wave automation devices. As we expand and start to do cloud integration with Wi-Fi connected, there will be elements in the cloud. But again, we have dual path. If the network goes down, we'll go over cellular. That cellular works not only for alarm signals, but for full interactive services. And again, we have always-on connections, so fast response time. But in today's world with Z-Wave automation devices, once you create the scene, it's stored locally and runs right there, incredibly blazing fast. And again, as Kyle pointed out, basically anything that's Z-Wave certified, we'd be compatible with.
Cool, and I'm actually going to bump up a question from Greg Erickson because I think it's a good one, and this is for you, Dave. Greg says, thank you guys for doing what you do and making our lives easier. Is there a timeline for making your Bat Connect compatible with the Vista 128 Turbo at this time?
Oh, great question. Well, so the Vista 128, so I think it was highlighted during the presentation. We do live, over-the-air firmware upgrades regularly on our products, as well as updating our app. Every system will check in once a day. If there's any new updates, it will grab them. Our most recent did provide support for the Vista 128. I'm a little cautious because the Vista 128 Turbo, that sounds like a very specific model. And Honeywell was notorious for having different bus architectures and different tweaks to various panels. But I'm fairly convinced we support the Turbo. Kyle, you might know for sure. If not, we'll get back to you with a direct response on that. But we do support the Vista 128 with our latest release that went out about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'll jump in there, Dave. The Turbo is one of the ones that we've done testing with. So again, like you said, maybe there's some revisions that I need to dive into and check how many different versions they came out with that. But yeah, the Turbo I should be able to give a thumbs up to. Just the 128 in general, I think we're all pretty happy with. So yeah, unless there's something more specific than that, I think we're in good shape for you.
Good deal. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, then, Dave. Here's a question from Sunil. Sunil's asking about updating the notification options so that the end user is instantly notified when a zone is opened or closed. And I don't mean armed or disarmed. I mean when a door physically opens or closes. Other hubs can do that, and our customers would like to see that as well. Dave, I think that's something we've already got coming online right now, isn't it?
Yes, actually, and I think Kyle did a little walkthrough when we were going through the app. It's a recent addition to the app, probably a few months ago. With any one of the sensors that are on the list, you click on the right arrow or the three dots, I think, depending on if it's Android or iOS, and it'll pull up a secondary menu. You can turn on notifications, you can turn chime on or off by zone, you can do a variety of other settings, and you will get instant notification when a sensor opens, whether it's armed or not. There's also a lot of programming flexibility in the Connect Plus world that some partners might, are often very amazed by. As you enroll a sensor, it will default itself to the type of sensor it is and the typical use case, but you can change even what contact ID codes are sent. You can change whether it's chimes or not, and you can also change what type of sensor it is, from intrusion sensor to other different conditions. So a lot of flexibility in programming the zones, but in terms of notification, that's built right into the app.
Excellent. Kyle, I'm going to swing back to you. I've got a number of questions here on the Slimline Touchpad, so that relates to your part of the presentation. First one comes to us from Frank Solomon. Hey, Frank, out there in New York. Stay safe, buddy. Frank's asking, can the Slimline also be used with Bat Connect?
Yeah, it has the exact same enrollment procedure that the Connect Plus has then too. So it joins an access point or network that the Bat Connect's putting out, and same specs there. You can add up to 4 touchpads on a back Kinect today.
Perfect. Next question comes to us from Bassam. Can I use my logo on the touchpad? Do you got any options for dealers to white label that?
I can probably address this one. Why don't I jump in on this one, Kevin?
Sure.
At this point in time, we don't have any custom branding. However, we're aggressively pushing to get branding and even an ability to push your color scheme down to the touchpad. So look for that coming later in the year. And this will be tied to a lot of our partner program, which Warren Hill is going to be discussing on Thursday's webinar. So many of these things, whether it's marketing material, the videos, our partner portal, which will be discussed on Thursday, our partner program, which will be discussed on Thursday, are covering a lot of these items. And look for that branding capability to come a little bit later in the year. We're aggressively pushing that one forward on our priority roadmap.
Yeah, if you haven't signed up
Dave,
for Thursdays, sorry, real quick, I'm just going to put in a plug that Thursday we'll be doing this again, and so we'll be covering a lot of new material, so please be sure to sign up for that as well. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is Kyle again. I just wanted to add one more note to Dave's remarks there. With the last update we made on the touchpad, we do actually remove the Alula branding as well. So you know, some relief from branding altogether. I know it's not your logo, but again, colors, things like that, we're looking to add for you. But we did drop the Alula logo as well.
Yeah, great point.
Oh, that's a great point.
Kyle.
Kyle, while I got you, David's asking, what's the expected life on the battery pack and the touchpad? Any issues with constant charging?
Constant charging isn't too much of a fear on any of those devices. The battery pack, we do get about a 4-hour battery backup with. So it is something certainly meant to be plugged in. So with that said, yeah, it is meant to be plugged in. We do account for that.
Excellent. Now we got a question from Alton. Is the Slimline louder than the first touchpad?
Oh, that I don't have a spec on, so I don't want to go too far with how to judge that question, I suppose. But yeah, depending on how you mount them is kind of a factor. So that there is kind of a little bit of lip there that you get some perks with the audio enunciation, the doorbell chime, things of that nature are a bit louder than the original design that you had, and most of that is based on it was mostly a housing that went over our original touchpad. With the Slimline and the wall mounts, they are a little bit more clear to that speaker then.
And last question for you comes to us from Richard Metz. Hey, Richard. Richard's asking, what is a device link card? Could you just give us a quick and easy definition of that?
Yeah, the device link card is something that's required to speak to the touchpads. You place it inside a Kinect Plus panel, and that's the card that is allowing you to communicate to up to 4 touchpads. So they all report back to the card inside our Kinect Plus panel. It is not a card that's needed for the Bat Kinect. The Bat Kinect has that device link ability built into it.
Important clarification. Dave, we got a few other questions about the UX on the touchpad. I know this is part of the product roadmap, so I want to steer these over to you. Justin is asking, is the default home screen dealer configurable to meet customers' needs, i.e. lock control versus thermostat?
Okay, good question. The home screen is configurable, and I don't know if we're dealing with the home screen on the app or the touchpad, but they're both configurable. On the touchpad, there's a lot of options the dealer can set up, including what shows up on the bottom tray. It can be a full set of menus or greatly simplified. Often it's simplified in commercial applications versus residential applications. And then there's customization of what's going to show up on the right-hand side panel for both information and control of automation devices. So all of that's configurable at the time of install, and the app itself has a configurable home screen as well, where you can pick your favorite cameras, sensors, and automation devices that will show up on that screen. Of course, everything can be reached through the navigation on the bottom tab, and that's consistent on both the touchpad and the app. There's a security tab, a devices tab, which is automation, and then a cameras tab, which would show individual settings, as well as a couple other configuration screens. So yes, it's all configurable, and hopefully that addresses the question from Justin.
And since I have you, we've got a question from Guy. He's at the very beginning of his journey. He's saying, I'm shopping for a way to get older security systems off of telephone lines and connected with smartphone apps. Do you have a list of compatible systems? So, Dave, talk a bit about our solution there.
Oh, great. Yeah, and I'm glad we kind of skipped over some of the flexibility we have. So with the Bat Connect product, we bus connect to all the devices that we've mentioned, the DSC Power Series, Honeywell, NX, NAPCO, Concord coming soon. So we've got a variety of panels we bus connect. However, we also have tip and ring capabilities built into this device. So any panel that supports Contact ID, you can connect up to the phone line. We simulate the phone line voltage. We'll capture those signals and route them through to the central station. We also support key switch arming, so you can do simple arming control, and you can add automation and video on virtually any system out there that has Contact ID reporting. So there's a lot more flexibility I don't think we covered in the webinar today that's built into this Bat Connect product, and this is part of why Russell said this is one of the most exciting products. It's a single SKU on the truck that can address any installation that you might run into.
And another question about one of the products we talked about here, the Simon XT. I just want to check in with you on this one. Do all Simon XT devices work still with Kinect XT? So will the fobs work? Will the smoke detectors work? The CO detectors? Does all of that end up working in the new system?
Yeah, and this is probably a question coming from somebody familiar with our translator line, which historically we didn't always support the life safety devices. But again, the devices are enrolled into the panel, and we just connect up to the panel to bring it out to the cloud for both alarm reporting and interactive services. So all those devices will work. And I think there's another question on what models of the Simon we support. It's the XT, XTI, XTI5, and I think there might have been an XTI5E that just hit the market right before. So basically anything XT and later.
Okay. Russell, I know that you kind of touched on it, and the great unknown is the sunset date, but Trip is in the questions. Trip Davis is looking for some kind of clarity. He's heard multiple dates. What's the best information we can provide in terms of when the sunset will happen?
Okay, so the best date for the sunset for AT&T devices is around February of 2022, and for Verizon it's December. And the reason why these dates can slip is just that they move. A lot of times they're not going to shut down the entire network. They're going to bring towers down on an individual basis. They're already optimizing towers today. So when we talk about the sunset, we say the sunset is here now. It's not something that we can wait on because you could lose these towers at any time. But the last drop dead date that I had from the Alarm Industry Communications Committee was February of 2022 and then December for Verizon. That's your last dates. Again, things change, but right now that's what it looks like.
Yeah, and to your point, we've got Brad is in the chat. He's installer out there in northern Michigan. Brad says, I am experiencing CDMA connectivity already loss in northern Michigan. So the sunset's already happening in northern Michigan. And it could be coming to your neighborhood tomorrow. You just don't know. So the only thing you can control is what you can control, and that's getting ahead of it, putting the work in now so that it'll be prepared whenever it happens. But yeah, get on it now. There is no time to wait. Dave, here's a question, kind of a roadmap question. Brent's asking, is it possible to get a notification after a sensor, like a door, is active after X minutes?
Yeah, so this is, okay, so something was left open for a period of time.
Exactly.
We don't have notification based on that, and I'm pausing here to think if you could set up a scene. We have a variety of scenes. They're automation scenes that can be loaded in. We typically will operate off of triggers. I don't think we have anything that would be a sensor open for a period of time, though, but that's a good thing to consider adding. I will put that down in our notes and look to add something like that in one of our future releases.
Perfect. And a quick clarification for Justin. Let's go ahead and ask this to you, Dave. Can the Kinect Plus hub connect over Wi-Fi to the customer's router for communication versus a LAN cable?
Yes, it can connect up over the router. There was a question about the device link card. That's a specific Wi-Fi device to create a network for touchpads to join. We also have another Wi-Fi card that's used to join a home network. In the BAT Connect world, our Wi-Fi that's built in can do both simultaneously. We have different cards in the Kinect Plus world depending on which path you want to create. Most people will end up connecting up over a physical connection and then use cellular as a backup, though. That tends to be the most common use case.
Excellent. We get this question every time, so Dave, I'll have to ask it once and once only, but will Alula integrate with Crestron, Savant, and Control4?
Yeah, it's a common request coming in from our partners. You know, we're natural network connections, so when we're on the same network, we can see other devices that are on that network. These are great examples of home automation devices that would be there. We haven't done any of the integrations to date, but we're in discussions with every one of these companies and looking to make that happen. I would say, let's see, who did they list? It was Control4, Crestron, Savant. Those are all top companies in our list. We'll keep you posted as we get those completed.
Perfect. And this is just a quick one. Are 600 sensors still supported when 319 megahertz is in use?
The 600 series sensors, I think, are Interlogix, the EcoLink branded, and those are all supported. If it's 319.5 Interlogix, we're good to support those. So I think Jason sent that. Nice to hear from you, Jason, and we should be good to go.
Thank you, Jason. Kyle, if you're still with us, we've got a question from Bob on installing a video doorbell. I've worked with you on a couple of those. So, Kyle, Bob's asking, can a video doorbell be added to BAT Connect?
Yeah, great question. Video doorbell can be added by itself with the Alula app. So regardless of what security panel you're putting in, or if you're not putting in a security panel at all, you can implement our camera solution. So to answer the question directly, yes, you can. But even furthermore, you can do it standalone. If you just want to offer video, you can do that with the Alula app.
Yeah, it makes a great standalone. Maybe they're not ready to put a whole system in, but the popularity of the doorbell cameras out there in the market, a lot of people are interested in those that hadn't traditionally been interested in security. And this gives you a way to get a foot in the door with that account. You install the doorbell camera for them. They start to see and interact with the interactive controls, and suddenly they want other cameras. They want an indoor camera, an outdoor camera. Now they're going to ask you for sensors, a garage door sensor. So it definitely gets you in the door on that account. Let's see. While I got you here, Kyle, Alton's asking, can you rearrange the layout in favorites for the app? I think you showed how to do it, but why don't you give us a quick little kind of explanation of how a customer is able to set up their own home screen?
Yeah, the dashboard does prioritize a few things today. Cameras do go to the top of that list, and then it goes sensors and devices. So there is some priority built in that we had to put in on our own. So that order isn't customizable, but as you drill into devices, you can have other groups as well. So maybe you want to make a different group of favorites that's just your Z-Wave devices, or it's just your outside lights, it's just your living room lights. Things like that can be created in separate groups, and that's in the More section of the app. So otherwise, devices themselves and sensors themselves get dropped into the list. I believe I'm going to say alphabetically. Dave, correct me if I'm wrong there. Your it'll go cameras, sensors, devices, and then within those categories, they're alphabetical.
Yes, they are, and so some people, even putting a number in front of it, will jump them into the list. So it's not a pick and place sort, but you can have some flexibility based on how you name things.
Kyle, Jeremy's asking, what thermostat works best with the system, or is it any Z-Wave enabled thermostat? Can you give us a little clarity as to, I mean, is there some that you've worked with, any that you might recommend?
Yeah, there's definitely some popular ones out there. If you have one that you're already in love with and is kind of your go-to, keep installing that one. So anything that's approved by that Z-Wave Alliance is going to be compatible. The look and feel within our app and on our touchpad is always going to be the same. So it's going to be, what do you want on your wall inside the home? So if you have one specifically you're already using, that shouldn't be a problem. If there's one that's already existing in the home, that also shouldn't be a problem. So I don't like to get too specific there beyond that, because we're a little more agnostic in that regard when it comes to the Z-Wave stuff. Everything should be playing nice. So you have your picks. If you need a specific recommendation beyond that of where maybe just to start, we could go down the list of what we have. There's brands like Radio, Honeywell, even the Alarm.com one is very popular. It's just that white looking one that's rebranded by a few other manufacturers. Go Control, Greenhouse, something like that is all manufacturers that are going to be functional within our platform.
Thanks, Colin. I had a couple questions about doorbell functionality real quick. John asks, will you be able to turn off the motion on the doorbell camera and still have it record when the doorbell button is pressed?
So if you turn off the motion capture, it will eliminate clips entirely. So we do want that motion feature on for clip collection. The doorbell press is a separate notification, but again, if your recording ability is turned off, your motion capture is turned off, coming up and pressing the door does not create a clip for you then. So yeah, we definitely want that on. Again, the doorbell press will initiate a separate push notification. So in that regard, you would get two notifications, one for the press and one for a motion event. That would be a push notification on the app. And then the touchpad itself, we have the different tones that can be played when a doorbell is pressed. So there's some sound element to that out of the touchpads.
And there's also
Got
a
it.
lot
And
of,
then
you can configure the motion detection to scale it back so it's basically right on the doorstep as opposed to catching things in the street. Between turning sensitivity down and turning the range down, you can dial it in right to activity on the front step.
Yeah, that's a great workaround, Dave. Thank you for the question. Last one for you here, Kyle, real quick. Will the doorbell pop up when it's pressed so you don't have to go searching for that camera feed?
Yeah, any motion event, when that first occurs, we're going to give you an alert. The motion's been detected. By tapping on that push notification, you'll actually be brought into into the live view at that point. And that's simply because your motion capture is still occurring, right? There is no clip yet. That's still being recorded. So we actually bring you right into the live view where you can initiate the two-way voice session or take a picture if you need to very quickly and have that available to you. So there's some controls that you get out of the live view though. But yeah, keep in mind that at that point, the clip is still being recorded, so you're not sifting through that yet. If you do need to go back, there's a calendar that you sort through. You open up the calendar, pick a date, and then it gives you the timestamps throughout that day.
All right. Russell, I've got a question for you about Sunset coming to us from David. I want to make sure I get this right. He's saying for current customers that are on 3G, without having a salesperson go out and test for 4G service, is it safe to say that no matter what, if they are on 3G, will 4G work at that location? Or to put it another way, I'm an outside sales rep. If a customer is on 3G network currently, is it guaranteed that 4G will work and I would not have to test each one on the site?
Nothing's going to be totally guaranteed because you may not be in a network area for whichever carrier you're dealing with. That's a minor problem, but it could happen. So I don't want to give a blanket statement and say it's 100%. But your customer most likely is on 4G, and you can ask them if they get 4G service with their current phones. That's your quickest way of knowing, what they have. And if they have AT&T, then you know AT&T works. If they have Verizon, you know Verizon works. We do both networks. You have to order the specific equipment. They don't cross over, so you'll have a AT&T version and a Verizon version. But I would ask the customer what service they have and if it's working, and then you'll be able to determine that. But you can't just automatically say 100% of the time it would work. I don't want to go that far, but it's pretty guaranteed that you'll get some kind of LTE service. I don't like to say 4G because you could have 3.5G, which we call is faux G. You want to know that it's an LTE unit, but I would go with that.
And since I have you, I have a question from Rob. He says, is the Sunset program available through Canadian distributors?
Yes, it is. So you can upgrade your units in Canada, and we will pay for the Sunset rebate. We do have that rebate program going on right now today, and we'll continue that until the near future for sure. Okay.
And this is a question about Bat Connect, and I think you're a good guy to answer this one, Russell. John asks, can a Bat Connect communicate IP to your central station instead of you making a phone call back to central?
Actually, we prefer to do IP to IP, so the units always go to our network, and that's just the way the network is designed. It's a fault-tolerant network dependent on DNS, so it's a self-healing type of network with high availability. So once it hits our network, then we would go IP to IP to the central station. Generally, that network coverage is around 38 milliseconds, so it's extremely fast. So we don't go directly from the radio, the cellular unit with IP, or the Ethernet or Wi-Fi directly to the central station. We're always in the middle of that transaction because then we can assure delivery of that signal. Say, for example, the IP connection from our network to that central station is severed for some reason. Maybe someone had a backhoe and hit that central station connectivity, so it's no longer there. We always fall back to a dial-up type service to be able to get into it with a phone line if we need to. So there's always a way to get that thing through the network itself, but we're going to be the intermediary in between that. And you want us to be. That's the best way in which to deliver a signal and always be available. So we're not going into one network. We're in a huge network that's geographically diverse. So you don't have to really worry about, is this part of the country having an issue? We're going to go to another part of the country if we need to be able to deliver that signal. And I hope that answers that question.
That's a great answer, Russell. And in fact, I'm going to throw it back at you because John had another technical question I think you might be able to help out with. He's asking about Bat Connect again. How long and how does it know if it's lost the internet if the router is still up assigning IP addresses to connected devices? If the Bat has an IP address, how does it know that there is no internet connection?
Well, it would know as soon as it attempts to connect with our network, which it's constantly doing. So as soon as you lose that connectivity, because it has to reach the network, it doesn't reach just the router itself and stop there. We go layer 1 through 3, so we'll go all the way into the network side of that. We'll test that consistently. As soon as we know that we don't have IP connection, it will then choose the cellular. As soon as IP is available to our network, then it'll switch back over to IP. As an IP-centric company, we're always going to choose that IP. It's a faster way of delivering signals. It's a better customer experience for your end users. So we always want to fall back to that. Cellular is our backup. Now, if IP is not available at all, again, we will go to cellular. But it will always test that network and do it consistently. And if we cannot get to the network itself, it knows to switch to the cellular side. And that's a two-way connectivity. We're always pinging the device from the network, and the device is always pinging the network itself. So there's a two-way kind of a ping going on there to know if the network is solid or the unit's solid, so we can know the availability of that particular device out in the field.
All right. Thank you for that very thorough explanation, Russell. We're just coming to the conclusion here, rounding the final bend. Why don't I bring this over to you, Dave? Richard Metz has a quick question. What is the difference between an RE926RS and an RE926RX?
Yeah, we discussed that a little bit in a previous question coming from a different angle. These are the two different Wi-Fi cards for Kinect Plus. One of them is used to join the network and find the outside world for interactive and alarm reporting. The other creates a network for touchpads to join. So the device link is the RS, and the Wi-Fi card for the outside world is the RX. So that's the difference between the two of them.
Excellent. And we've got another question here from Ron. Ron's asking, what is the difference in price between Kinect Plus and Bat Connect? Dave, maybe this is a good chance to talk about how those two different devices are really just getting you to the same place.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the Bat Connect, I think Russell highlighted, Bat Connect is a communicator. It's currently running on promo at all of our distribution partners at $99. I think typical dealer pricing is right around $116. The Kinect Plus, being a panel, it can be configured so many different ways. So you can do a base system starting under $100, and you could do a full-on system with multiple door window sensors, motion sensors, and smoke sensors for several $100s. I think in general, our partners are going to pay somewhere between that $99 and probably $200 for a typical panel, depending on the configuration of cards. It's very competitive. If you get a system that includes a touchpad, the cell backup, and a Z-Wave card, and it looks kind of the full-featured offering, you're going to be sitting in that couple $100 range, and then you can start to add sensors from there. And it's going to vary again depending on what type of sensors and systems that you promote.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you to all of our guests today for taking time to give us all the benefit of their knowledge at a time when we're all asking questions and just looking to learn a little bit more. So last questions we had from Stephen asked, does Alula have marketing material we can include in our billing, et cetera? Yes, and we will be talking about that in day 2 of this special presentation, our virtual trade show, which will be taking place this Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. That's 12 o'clock Eastern Time. So please stay tuned. We will also be giving away another whole home giveaway worth $500. Congrats again to Mark Pippin, the winner of today's prize. As Peter asked, can you touch upon commercial applications. Peter, you are in luck. Brian McLaughlin, our CEO, will be with us for day 2, and we'll be specifically speaking to use cases and commercial applications. So be sure to tune in on Thursday. We've got a great presentation lined up for you. In the meantime, stay safe out there, and feel free to reach out to us if you need anything. We're all about our partners. We're at 1-888-88-ALULA. Thank you all for being with us. See you on Thursday.